Hey guys, how are you? Okay, so a couple things I want to talk about. One, hi, I miss y'all. Two, I'm gonna set a timer because I feel like I'm getting a little too chatty. So we're gonna see if I can keep a little track of what we're doing. It might help. So first off, nice job, 8th grade. For those of you who have been able to either send me pictures via the Google Voice phone number that I gave you, great job. For those of you who were able to post them actually in a Google Doc in the Google Classroom assignment, thank you so much. It just makes my life a little bit easier to grade everything and keep track of everything. So I'm going to go ahead and ask you this. For those of you in 8th grade who have little brothers or sisters or cousins who are in your home who also have me for art and are having a hard time with Google Classroom assignments, please help them. That would be really, really great because it's easier than me trying to do it through the internet. I mean, we'll make it work. I'm figuring it out because the problem I'm having is if you're sending me things in multiple formats, whether it's through Classroom, email, texting, whatever, and only my 8th graders have the option to text, I have to keep track of 300 kids, who's sending me what and where it's coming from. I can do it because I'm awesome, but it's hard. So here's what we're going to do this week. First of all, some of you, I have given you some options if you have talked to me. Okay. First of all, the candy food packaging work that I was seeing that some of you sent me pictures of, it's amazing. I'm so proud of you guys. Those are things that really make my heart melt when I see like some really amazing work being done without me being in your life. That means you're going to do art for a long time. 2, the graffiti art project that I posted for last week as your assignment. It's my preference. I would prefer you work on that. But if there's something else you want to work on and we can add other elements to it that we're going to be learning about over the next 5 weeks or so, because once again, I planned for the rest of the year. I don't know if we're going to be out the rest of the year, but this is where my brain is at. We should probably be able to add those to something you're working on. If you get the graffiti work done like that and you're bored and you want to do other things, this for 8th grade, I'm letting it because you guys have, this is the suckiest situation. I'm going to let you guys just go ahead and send me pictures and I'll kind of work with you one-on-one, which means at the end of today's lesson, I'm actually going to be doing a really quick brief review, not review, but talking to you about faces and how to place features on a face to make them look more realistic. Somebody contacted me and is working on it and would like some help. So if you want to see that, it's going to be at the very end. If there's something you want to work on, shout it out to me. I will gladly work on it with you. I will add it. We'll post videos. We'll make this work. We're learning. So the graffiti art, where we left off last week, and some of you struggled with this. Not terribly, but I like to push people because I'm annoying. So last week I did the word sunny. Here was my word sunny. It almost doesn't even look like the word sunny anymore because it's becoming more artistic than it is a literacy word. And I made them into these funny bubble letters. So I had the S, the U, the N, the little n, and the Y. Now, today I just had erased all my original letters, which you can see on this end because I have the next N ready to go to show you what we're doing today. So see how I had that middle line? I know you're 8th grade. I know you're all bad and cool. Do the first one. This first one gets you all fixed up when it comes to size, placement, shape. Okay? Some of you are like, that's for babies. I know how to write block letters. But if you lay this out with this first one, then make it into your new letter, it's a little bit easier to place things, shape things, and make it, more interesting. So what I wanted to talk to you about is the thing I'm really challenging you on is variety. Variety. My letters are shaped differently. They're sized differently. They run off the edge of the paper in multiple places. Some are round on the bottom. Some are straight on the bottom. Please don't get stuck into making something that's like cookie cutter and the same. This is art. Let's try to be creative about it, okay? So this was your first thing. Now, I did not add part 2 to this yet because there's a lot of lines going on right now, and I want to show you first. Maybe I'll do that for you for next week, and I'll post a picture of it. So back to this guy. So I had my original letter that I drew, and then I went ahead and I took I actually did the bubble letter with a pencil too, and then I traced it with the Sharpie. So what I could do right now, if I wanted to waste your time, would be to go in and erase this first letter. Remember, do the first letter, it helps. But I'm not going to do that. So what we're going to talk about this week is we started to talk about line last week. We use line all the time. 8th graders do this all the time, especially some of you. I still do this where you know how to write your name, and have you ever found yourself being like, I'm going to write my E differently. I'm going to write my A differently. That's manipulating line and changing line. The more we change line, the more kind of artistic it becomes, which makes it more visually interesting. So we started with just simple line last week. And if you look at my kindergartners, everybody's doing a very similar project because I am just keeping life simple. My kindergartners are doing block letters, simple block letters. Now that just had a little hint in it. We're going to be talking about space, okay, and how to create space. Now we have talked about space with perspective, and that when things go further away from you, they get smaller. And when they get closer to you, they get bigger. We're going to be adding a 3D element to this. Now, once again, some of you are like, but I know how to make a cube. I know how to do this. With letters, it's a little trickier. It's even trickier with a letter when they have rounded edges and variety. And I like variety. So this is going to be tricky. Okay. So the first thing you're going to do, and I do have a next one to show you. You're going to make what's called an extender. And the extender is going to go off the top. Well, I'm calling it an extender. I don't know if it's officially called an extender. Off of the same side of your letter. So I'm going to show you. So I just did it. So here's an extender coming this way. Here's an extender coming this way. Here's an extender coming this way. So you see how they're all on this side of the letter. You with me so far? Now I'm going to connect them. And I'm going to use a parallel line to kind of the line that I've already done. Oh, I already made a mistake. Thank God for erasers. Thank the Lord for an eraser. While I have your undivided attention, I'm going to go ahead and Sharpie it so you can just see it. Because it's going to have a better wow factor and you're going to be able to see it easier. My easel's supposed to be coming on Monday. So I don't know. I kind of like the clipboard. The easel might not work. We'll see. So what I've done is I've Sharpied this. So what I have, there was my extender. Here was my extender. I connected it with a somewhat parallel line to this guy. Here was my extender. I kind of matched it up and around. And now I have this shape that looks like it is going back into space. Okay. Now, when I erase out this original one, it's going to look even cooler. Okay. So what I have done, next step, part 2, part 3, whatever, is I wrote the word sun. My word sunny, I got a little ambitious. There wasn't a lot of room to add the space to it. Could I do it? For sure. Will I try it? Of course. But for demonstration purposes, I think this was going to get a little too messy to keep track of. So I went ahead and did a new letter, a new word. So I just did sun. Now you can see where I used my original letters to get my spacing and get kind of where I'm at. I have started to go in and add my extenders and my extra lines. So I just took it right off of this. There's that one. I took it right off of this because it's on the same side. And then I filled in the S. The U is going to be, yep, this one was kind of tricky. The U is right there, and it's going to come down. There's a little guy right there. And then up here on the end. Now, I'm using the same side of all of these letters because if I jump between sides, it's going to visually become very confusing. And if you're not already confused as it is, some of you probably are not. Some of you are probably hating my guts right now. Oh, that would be any day. Right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you. I'm sharpening them so you can kind of see it a little bit better. Now, when they're just a bunch of black and white lines like this, it does get a little confusing to see. I'm going to erase for a minute and just talk so you can get the full effect. But when we start to add these other elements, color, texture, pattern, etc. to it, and we start to emphasize the part that's traveling back in space versus the original letter, it's going to look really cool. If you're starting to have a hard time seeing, I'm only going to do the S and then you'll see what I mean. If you're having a hard time seeing what you're drawing, erase the original lines. And if you drew lightly, it should not be a problem. Okay, I'm going to leave some of them so you can see the difference of confusion. So here's my, oh, snap. Okay, so you have, see that extended space? It goes back in. So I use line to create space. Line to create space, line to create space. Now, I erased the original letter right there. No big deal. But if you can see on my U and my N, I still have all the other lines, and it can get a little tricky. So erase them and clean them up. Now, once we start to add other things to it, like shading and such, to these spaces, it's going to make it even more so look like it's traveling back in space. Okay? So here's what I need you to do for this week. You're not little kids. You're 8th graders who are going into high school next year. And you're going to have a high school art teacher who makes me look like a saint. Happens to everybody. They always come back and say, Mr. Moss, I miss it here. What I need you to do, you guys don't get the option to do the kindergarten level this. No. I mean, you can do this to practice. Okay. And you can use block letters for your word and make them funky and fun. That's fine. But I need to see that word. I need to see variety. Then what I need to see is I need to see it go back into space. However many times you need to practice doing individual letters on scrap paper, go for it. You do not need to make them this big. I could have used a blank piece of paper, and I have just one left to show you. I could have used a blank piece of paper and literally done the entire alphabet on this because I could have made each letter small and practiced going back into space. Can you do that? Sure. Can you develop your own font with what you're doing? Sure. Okay. So for this week, word, I need a word that goes, each letter travels back into space. Okay. I think you can do this. I have faith. If you're stuck, please let me know. You guys have that number to text me. I'll post it in the assignment also. You can comment on Google Classroom. My goal is by next Friday, I want to see a picture of your work and where you're at. It's like a participation grade, a check-in grade. So I need to see that work, and I would love to see it in Google Classroom. Okay? Second best would probably be email, third best text, whatever. If you text me, please let me know who it is because I don't have your number. People send me stuff and I'm like, I don't know who you are. So now I'm going to really quickly take a minute and jump into what Tamia needed or wanted to talk about. Yeah, I called you out. Sorry, kid. So for those of you who want an extra challenge in your life and the word is not challenging enough and creating space is not challenging enough, some of you want to practice working on faces. Faces are super, super tricky. And the biggest thing about them is that we never put the proportions, the features in the right place. So the first thing, and it's really actually easy on a video. So the first thing you have is I have a very oval face. So you have the shape of your face. I have bangs covering a good portion of my face. Okay. You have to remember, here's your chin. Here's the crown of your head. So when I draw this oval on my paper, it is going from my chin to the crown of my head. Okay. With that being said, if you look, my eyes are right about, just a little bit above, but right about the halfway point of that shape. So what you're going to be doing is, go close so I can see. Can you see it? Oh man, I drew it real lightly. I have an oval and I have drawn the first line. This is going to be where my eyes go. The second line is going to be where the bottom of the nose goes. And the third line is going to be where the mouth goes. Now, very, very, very quickly. And I changed it. It's got an orientation of, you can't see it. It's got a little arc to it so that these eyeballs are going to be looking kind of up and to the right. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to draw simple shapes so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, so can you see it? So here's the bottom lip, the bottom of the nose, the eyes. Your ears, and the top of your ear falls at that halfway point of your eye. So if I were to add an ear in, I'm going to add an ear. I feel like I should Sharpie this so you can see it, because what's the point if you can't freaking see it, right? But it goes against everything in my human nature because it makes it permanent, and drawing faces is such a sketchy process. Sketchy process. And I already made a mistake. Okay, terrible with the Sharpie, but so my eyes are on my halfway point, my nose, that lip, the ear. Now the ear is actually going to come down. My ear's short. So my ear starts, if I draw from the corner of my eye back to about where the point is, but then it goes down almost to the top lip. So my ear in this picture is actually really, really short. Your ears might be smaller. Your ears might be bigger. We're getting closer to what human looks like. Now, what is confusing, look at that dome head. Okay, so what's confusing is if I were to draw my bangs in here, I would have bangs. And then my hair part is here. You with me? If you're a boy or a girl with super short hair and you are going to have more of a hair line, I can't draw like that, that's going to come down and create a forehead. Do you see what I'm saying? All of this is hair, and it is not rounded like that. Just FYI, I would work on that. Practice, Mr. Moss. But this is all hair. So everybody who sees this initial sketch is always like, my God, that forehead's huge. It's not. It just is going to up here. Do you see how much hair is covering all of this? So if I were to pull look, I got a big old forehead, but I cover it up with my bangs. I also have a big lump in my forehead. Rewind, pause that, and look for the lump. Do you see what I'm saying? So it's not my best drawing. Don't judge it. But does it help? A little bit. So I'm going to wrap this up because I don't want to talk any longer than the 18 and a half minutes we're already at. So I need a picture of a word, full word with using space. That's your primary thing. If you're working on something else and you want help, message me and let me know. Okay? Okay. Peace out. We're doing it. Let's go. Bye, guys.